Well, today we're about to change the oil on my Honda Grom since it's pretty much needs an oil change. It's pretty much right at the miles that I change. I change it every 500 miles. Everybody's different. That's just what I do. So, we're at 50 something. So I figured it's time to change since I got off work early anyway. So basically, we're about to start tearing a lot of this down to change the oil. Which, I'll show you how to do it to make it easier if you don't already know. Alright, well, pretty much for the first thing you need to do is you need to take off this rear set, because you got to get to the bolts right here all the way around. There's a few of them tucked behind the rear set. So the bottom bolt down here, it's a 12 millimeter, and you gotta get this one up top, which is a 19. But you also have to get a 14 mil for this side right here, because that is connected all the way through. That's one of the motor bolt mounts, pretty much, is right here. And you have to also undo the exhaust. You have to pretty much take this little right here. You pop this out and take all that off, which I'll show you in just a second. Alright, well, this whole rear set is off. So now you just got to come down here, and you can kind of see it right there, which is the drain bolt. You take the drain bolt off. It's up to you. You can or not to take out the dipstick to make it a little easier to drain, so it doesn't create a suction or whatever. Set it off to the side, and pretty much just knock the drain bolt loose, drain it, and then pick it up at the next step. Alright, well, I drained all the oil and made a little bit of a mess. Don't know if you can see it. But with my style exhaust, when the oil drains, she tends to get all over right here. Like you can see the oil right here. Tends to get a little bit everywhere. I clean all that up before I started when I put new oil in it. But once you get that bolt done, drained out to 17 millimeter for anybody wondering. Next is you take all these little ones all the way around, which is, what is this? It's an 8 millimeter. There's quite a few different of them. You go all the way to the bottom, all the way up this side, and we'll get to that in 1 second. Alright, well, I got all the bolts out, and what I left out is, once you take this bolt right here out, it's a lot easier to get the clutch cable off of the bracket that sits right here. So once all the bolts are out, this should come loose, which there it goes. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. But pretty much there it is. I'll go over it and look at the gasket all the way around to make sure the gasket's fine, and clean the gasket off, and then clean off in there a little bit and make sure everything's good. And then I'll get to the next step in 1 second. I know everybody does this different. They clean it however, when they want, but I do it every time just because why not, really. It's way down here. You have a little screen filter. You just pull it out, just clean it, make sure you put it back correctly, which if you look, it's kind of like a triangle. You just put the pointy end first. Alright, well, the next thing you do is you crack these three loose. And the easiest way to do that, which I've found and I've looked it up, is to pretty much just stick a screwdriver right back there. Pretty much right back there. And break them all loose. And they're all loose right this second. So I will take it off and then show you what's behind it. And once you have all the bolts out, you just take it out. Inspect the gasket right here to make sure it's not cracked, and not sure if mine's cracked or not. I have to take it apart, take it out, and clean it and look at it. But clean all this gunk and all that back there out also. Wipe everything down, clean it all out, then put it back together, which I will show you in a second. Alright, well, I cleaned that, and the gasket, which is right there, she was looking a little rough, so I already had one just on standby just in case. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace the old gasket. Now all this is cleaned, all this, the gasket behind this was good. Everything's good, cleaned everything out, wiped everything down, looked at all the gears, made sure everything back here was solid. Everything was. So now we just got to put this back on and tighten everything up. Well, here it is. Everything's put together, cleaned, wiped down, all bolted up, everything's tight. The only thing left to do is add oil, which I'll do that, then we'll start the bike up. I'll take it around the block, you know, get everything going, moving through. And then I'll pick it back up in a little bit. Well, everything is bolted up, tightened, cleaned. Everything's done. I just reset, I don't know if you can see it or not, but reset the odometers on it. Back down to 0. And while I was doing that, I had parts for the grom delivered. Here's rear sprocket, whole bunch of little bolts right here, more bolts, and even more bolts. You have the little dampeners for the rear wheel, full set. You have the front sprocket, and then in these big old boxes you have front brake, and that one is the rear brake, which they're all taped up. So give me 1 second and I shall show you what they look like. Here's the front one for the front rotor, and here's the back one, along with all the other random parts that are all throughout here. So I guess we'll be doing a video on replacing all that soon. Well, now that everything's put back together, the oil's in it, let's see if she starts. Let's see if I did everything correctly. I say I did. She runs. Alright, well, let me get my helmet on and go take it around the block real quick. Well, I just took it around pretty much down the road and back, and just going through the gears, making sure everything's good. So pretty much that's all for this video. Until the next time we have to do something or work on something, ain't no telling. But till the next video, see y'all later.